Hello, everyone. Welcome to my channel. Please subscribe and keep watching more details. General Hospital spoilers. Pool accident victim revealed. Medical emergency changes everything. General Hospital, VH spoilers reveal that ever since the show released the latest weekly promo, fans have been buzzing about the upcoming Metro Court pool accident. There's no confirmation yet on who the accident victim will be, but there are certainly some clues to mull over. For starters, we should point out that Wiley Corinthos, Viren Weaver, birthday party was just held at the pool, so that seems to have raised a lot of viewers' suspicions about what might happen there. However, that pool party won't have anything to do with this accident, since it concluded and a new day begins in Port Charles on the August 1 episode. In other words, all those kiddos have gone home, so any accident that might happen for one of them would have to involve a return trip to the pool the next day. Of course, that's entirely possible since most of the kids on VH seem to practically live at the pool. That said, it's just as likely that an adult could have an accident. Ned Quartermain, Wally Kurth, slipped and fell in the pool back when the show did the Eddie Main storyline, so maybe fans shouldn't get too distracted over the concept of a drowning child. Blazaka Allison, Ali Rogers, Jacqueline Grace Lopez can be seen talking to Natalia Ramirez, Eva Leroux, poolside in the August 1 preview video, so could that be a hint? What if Christina Corinthos Davis, Kate Mansi, goes to the pool to meet Blaze and ends up taking a tumble? It's easy to imagine Christina tripping on her own or fighting with someone and slipping during the confrontation. Either way, Christina could hit her head and have to get rescued by Jocelyn Jacks, Eden McCoy. Based on spoilers for the August 2 episode, we know TJ Ashford, Taj Bello, will get some news that rattles him. We also know a medical emergency will crush a family, so these are other clues to keep in mind. TJ would certainly be rattled over Christina having an accident, especially since she's carrying the baby she's supposed to hand over to him along with Molly Lansing Davis, Kristen Vaganos. Likewise, Christina's family would be crushed over her medical emergency, which could put her life in danger along with the baby's. It makes sense to use Christina to create drama due to all the characters her scary situation would affect. There's still a chance someone like Donna Corinthos, Scarlett Spears, or Avery Corinthos, Ava and Grace Scarola could be the victim instead. But it's tough to ignore the evidence surrounding a very pregnant Christina when the stakes are so high. Regardless, the accident will presumably tie in with the Corinthos family and could be what pushes Sonny Corinthos, Maurice Benard, over the edge. This may be what it takes for Sonny to truly have a breakdown while off his meds. Plus Morgan Corinthos, Brian Craig. Return appearance is happening in early August, so he might pop up in a vision to Sonny. Or maybe he could talk to Christina as she lingers between life and death. Morgan might tell Christina that it's not her time to go since we know Kate Mansi is still filming. The baby, on the other hand, might have a much sadder outcome depending on what the writers have in store. General Hospital spoilers say some shockers are still to come at the Metro Court pool, so stick with us for more predictions on the aftermath and updates on everyone who'll be affected. The sun blazed overhead as the Corinthos mansion's backyard buzzed with life. It was a perfect day for the annual pool party, and Port Charles elite were in attendance. Laughter echoed, mingling with the splashes of water and the hum of conversation. Carly Corinthos, with her ever-present smile, flitted around, ensuring everything was in order. Her keen eyes scanned the crowd, ensuring no detail was overlooked. But beneath her calm exterior, an unease lingered, an inexplicable feeling that something was about to go wrong. Across the yard, Sonny Corinthos was deep in conversation with his old friend Jason Morgan. They shared a laugh, the weight of their tumultuous past momentarily forgotten in the festive atmosphere. But like Carly, Sonny couldn't shake a nagging sense of foreboding. He glanced around, eyes narrowing as they landed on the pool, where children and adults alike were enjoying the cool water. Near the edge of the pool, young Danny and Scout were playing a game of tag with their cousins, Wiley and Donna. Their jiggles filled the air, their carefree joy a stark contrast to the undercurrent of tension that only their parents seemed to notice. As the children played, their movements became more frenetic, their shrieks louder. Carly's gaze lingered on them, her motherly instincts on high alert. Just then, a scream pierced the air. The crowd froze, the festive mood shattered in an instant. Carly's heart plummeted as she spun around to see what had happened. Her eyes locked onto the pool, where a small figure was floating face down. Time seemed to slow as the realization hit her. Someone was in trouble. "Help! Someone help!" Carly's voice was raw with panic as she bolted towards the pool. Sonny was already moving, his instincts kicking in as he dove into the water without hesitation. Jason followed, his usually stoic expression twisted with fear. They reached the child in seconds, lifting the limp body out of the water. It was Scout. Carly's heart ached at the sight of her niece, lifeless and pale. She dropped to her knees beside Scout, her hands trembling as she reached out. "Call 911. Sonny barked, his voice a mix of command and desperation. Sam McCall, Scout's mother, was already on her phone, her face ashen with fear. Jason began CPR, his movements methodical but frantic. "Come on, Scout. Come on," he muttered under his breath, willing her to respond. Carly clasped Scout's hand, her tears falling onto the girl's still face. Minutes felt like hours as they worked to revive her. The crowd stood in stunned silence, the party atmosphere long gone. Finally, Scout coughed, water spewing from her mouth as she gasped for air. Relief washed over them, but it was fleeting. Scout was breathing, but she was still unconscious. The ambulance arrived quickly, paramedics rushing to take over. Carly watched in a daze as they loaded Scout onto a stretcher, her mind a whirl of fear and guilt. How had this happened? She had been right there, watching. How had she missed the signs? At the hospital, the mood was tense. The waiting room was filled with family and friends, their faces etched with worry. Sam was beside herself, her eyes red from crying. Jason stood by her, a pillar of strength, but even he couldn't hide his fear. Dr. Hamilton Finn emerged from the emergency room, his expression grave. "Scout's stable, but we need to run some tests. We need to find out why she lost consciousness in the first place." The news was a double-edged sword. Relief that Scout was alive, but dread at the unknown. What had caused her to pass out? Was it an accident or something more sinister? As the hours dragged on, Carly replayed the events over and over in her mind. There had to be an explanation. She remembered Scout playing happily, then suddenly she was underwater. It didn't make sense. Sonny sat beside her, his hand on hers. "We'll get to the bottom of this," he promised, his voice steady. But even he couldn't hide the worry in his eyes. Later that evening, Finn returned with an update. "We found something," he said, his tone cautious. "Scout has a condition called long QT syndrome. It's a heart rhythm disorder that can cause sudden fainting and even drowning in severe cases." The news hit them like a truck. Relief that it wasn't foul play, but horror at the diagnosis. Carly felt a wave of guilt wash over her. She had been so focused on the party, on making sure everything was perfect, that she hadn't noticed Scout's condition. Sam was devastated. "How did we not know?" she asked, her voice breaking. "How could we have missed this?" Finn was sympathetic. "It's often undiagnosed until something happens. But now that we know, we can manage it. Scout will need regular checkups and possibly medication, but she'll be okay." The news brought a sense of calm to the group. Scout would be okay. but the incident left a mark on all of them. It was a stark reminder of how fragile life could be.